welcome back to another episode of the Amateur Hour Podcast. I'm Jacob, and Colin is joining me today.
Hello, hello.
And we're going to go over the window of success for both Los Angeles teams. What is the championship window for the Lakers and the Clippers?
That's a great question.
And Colin, we'll just...
So I'll start with the Lakers. I think their championship window all revolves around LeBron, his age/health, and also if they can re-sign Anthony Davis or not. Because right now, Anthony Davis is signed through this year, but he has a player option for next year. And his player option is only $28 million.
And 1 year?
Yeah, for 1 year. So he's gonna play out this year, and then for the 2020-2021 season, he's gonna be making. He can choose to opt into that season for $28 million. I think it's gonna be based on LeBron and how much of a decline he has when he's gonna be 35, 36.
So far, it does not look like that's the case.
No, so far. He doesn't look like he's regressing. I think it's just inevitable that we will see a bit of regression from LeBron. I just don't know when that's going to happen. I think he's still got another 2 to maybe 3 years of being at the top of the top for, NBA players in the world. But I think after that, once he hits maybe like 37, I'm definitely going to start seeing some decline. But it's all based off around LeBron and AD because that is the entirety of that team.
Yeah.
I guess you could make an argument for they might get DeMarcus Cousins for next year, but I don't know.
It's only a 1 year deal though.
I don't know how I don't know how likely that is. Pretty much a lot of their team is either signed for this year or next year. The only player signed 3 years in advance is LeBron.
Yeah.
And that's a player option, so you don't even know if he's going to take that or not.
What I'll say about the Lakers is obviously LeBron is pivotal in this. And I give LeBron at least 2 years, but I probably give him 3 years. I think AD will, even if he doesn't take the player option, he will stay with the Lakers.
I think he will too.
Because he said to the Pelicans he wants to go to either New York or LA. He wants a big market. He wants to be a big market player. Because he clearly wasn't that in New Orleans because New Orleans is a small market team. Mm-hmm. But I think with any new championship contender like the Lakers, they weren't contenders last year, but they are this year. Any new contender, it takes them a year to sort out the team. Yeah. Before they start playing really well. Like you could look at the Miami Heat when LeBron first joined. It took them. They got to the finals. But they didn't win it. But it took them a while to get. I mean, that team is just so good. That's why they got to the finals. But it took them a while to settle in and figure out how to play with each other. And then once the next year rolls around, they get the other pieces involved with the stars. So then they won 2 years in a row. So what happens is you get your big stars, but you don't necessarily have the pieces surrounding them, which they don't right now. He's starting Caldwell Pope and almost and he's getting good. Like that shouldn't happen, right? Go ahead. What I'm saying on this is they're gonna be better next year, I think, because they're gonna be able to piece around their team a little bit better. They're going to find those pieces and fine-tune the roster. They're going to find
who they like, who they don't like.
So they're going to fine-tune the roster around these players. Because this year, they got their guys like, okay, now we need to fill out the roster.
They're like kind of in a bit of like a scramble mode where it's like, okay, the other LA team.
We need somebody.
The other LA team is looking like pretty good, maybe even better than us right now. One thing I do want to say about the Lakers is that the only players that they don't have under contract through to the end of next season is Cousins, Dwight Howard, Jared Dudley, and Troy Daniels. That's it.
I forgot Jared Dudley was on the team.
Jared Dudley gets like 11, 12 minutes a game. But anyways, other than those three, they technically have everyone signed through the 2020-2021 season, with the exception of Caldwell Pope, who's on a player option, Anthony Davis, who's also on a player option, and Rajon Rondo, who's also on a player option. So those three players could technically opt out of their contract for next year. But the Caldwell Pope contract, I think he will take that. I don't think anyone's going to give him $8.5, $9 million.
Oh, he's got to take that. Yeah.
No, I think he I think he will take that.
Also to stay on a contender.
Exactly. But for Rajon Rondo, if he wants to take $2.6 million for next year, I'm not sure if he will. But they've got a lot of their main pieces locked in for at least 2 years. So for me, I'd say the Lakers' championship window is now until in 3 years.
Do you think that when LeBron inevitably regresses, do you think they're going to be able to get the replacement for him? Because
no,
I think
you can't replace LeBron.
No, well, obviously, LeBron is irreplaceable. I'm not disputing that. But do you think like a player who can fill in the superstar role alongside AD? Because I think AD is going to be here for a long time. It's the Lakers. It's the biggest market in the NBA.
Obviously, I don't see them trading LeBron James. I really don't see them trading him. In terms of bringing in someone new, if by the end of LeBron's contract, which could be in 2 years, which could be in 3 years, if they want to get out of that, they're going to have a lot of money freed up.
Yeah.
They'll have about 39, 40 million freed up.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I think...
Maybe they make a play at like a Giannis.
Because there's a lot of uncertainties around it, I think I can agree with the 3-year window. I'm going to agree with the 3-year window just because you don't know what it holds after LeBron leaves.
Yeah, there's a lot more variables with the Lakers than I think with the Clippers. Like, I think
All right, we'll move on to the Clippers then.
Yeah.
What do you think the Clippers' realistic window is?
I really like the Clippers, man. They've got Paul George and Kawhi both signed through this season, through next season, and a player option for the 2021-2022 season. They both have player options at $37 and $36 million respectively. That's fair, very, very fair money for players like PG and Kawhi. They've also got Patrick Beverley locked up for sure for the next 3 years. They got Lou Williams for the next 2 years. They got Zubats for 4 years. They've got Landry Shamet for the next 3 years on a team option.
Wow.
A lot of their pieces they've already got locked in. The only piece that could be, pieces that could be gone by the end of the year are Mo Harkless and Montrezl Harrell. But I think they will bring back Harrell instead of Harkless because Harkless is on about $11 million now.
Oh yeah, you don't need Harkless.
But Harrell is only making $6 million. I think that's a vast underpayment.
So you're gonna get so obviously it's a huge underpayment. Harrell's probably gonna get that Harkless money.
I think Harrell could get anywhere from like $15 million upwards.
Yeah.
Like he's that kind of player.
He's very good. He's
and Lou Will is on an $8 million deal for the next 2 years, which is very, very nice. They have to really take advantage of that, especially because Lou Will is 33. You need to keep him on your team at that low contract while he's still a bucket. And having that kind of player coming off the bench just adds so much for your team. Like
it's ridiculous.
Like when LeBron
20 a game off the bench.
When LeBron comes off the court for the Lakers, or when AD comes off for the Lakers, or when Steph Curry comes off the court for the Warriors, it looks like a different team.
Well, not this year, but for Curry.
But what I'm saying is that
yeah.
even with Paul George and Kawhi maybe on the bench, you can still rely on bench scoring from Lou Will, Harkless, from Landry Shamet. Even Patrick Patterson has given them a few buckets this year. even JaMychal Green is playing okay for them right now. Even Zubats is playing okay for them right now.
Zubats isn't that bad.
What I'm saying is that they've got a lot of pieces which, like, I've said this before, I like the Clippers roster better than the Lakers.
Oh, 100%.
Not only that, I do like their salary position right now because they've got their core 4 pieces. They've got, like, their main 4 or 5 guys locked up for the next few years, but I think they'll really only have to re-sign Montrezl Harrell, which I don't think will be a huge issue, because I think they would just get rid of. I think they would just get rid of Mo Harkless.
Even so, like I was speaking about the Lakers in terms of piecing your roster together after like a big off season. I think in the case of the Clippers, because the roster was already competitive last year, they don't really need to fine tune much, but they can just do that extra little bit of tinkering this offseason and make themselves much better.
If they don't go to the finals this year, I could see a little bit of repiecing just to kind of... Like, they already had all those pieces in place, and then they added PG and Kawhi after.
Yeah.
I think you see how this plays and goes... or see how this season plays out, and then if you want to make some roster moves to kind of cater towards
that's
Kawhi and PG, then that's what they do. Yeah,
I think honestly, like this window's probably about the same, 3 years, but it's a lot less up for the variables to decide. Like a lot less to ask for. Like this is a for sure 3-year window. They have these pieces locked up.
I would disagree only because on the end of Paul George and Kawhi's contract, they have player options. You don't know what Kawhi is
going to do. So it's a for sure 2 years.
Absolutely,
like
for sure.
Will,
this year and next
Kawhi
year, you have to win.
Like these 2 years, we'll give it 2 years just for that.
But we're considering this.
I mean,
barring the fact that PG and Kawhi don't resign.
I feel like they both will take that player option at this point. That's why I will say.
If they're still competitive,
then we're saying 3 years on the Lakers, even though Anthony Davis is done after this season with a player option. I think he'll resign for longer. Even if he declines it, he'll probably decline the player option and still resign like a 4-year max deal, right?
Yeah.
So I like the Clippers roster better. I think it's better all around. I think it's more a cohesive unit.
I think they're what's what I'm looking for? Like their complementary pieces are better than the Lakers' complementary pieces.
Yeah, 100%. The complementary pieces to the Suitors are much better on the Clippers.
Yeah.
What I will say about their window, though, I think both of these teams really need to win this year. We talked about this. You and me talked about this personally earlier, off the record, but they really need to win this year because Golden State is going to be
Golden State's going to be reloaded next year.
I think if you ask me right now, Golden State are going to win the NBA championship next season because they have Curry and Klay Thompson back. D'Angelo Russell is getting traded.
You don't know, yeah. I mean,
no, he's getting traded.
He could, but he also could not.
I'm telling you, he's getting traded.
Based off the way their season's looking now, I think there's a chance.
You have Curry and Klay Thompson, formidable backcourt, the best backcourt in the NBA. Like that, those are your two guys.
Yeah.
You do not
easily the best backcourt.
You do not need to sacrifice Klay Thompson to the 3 spot to play D'Angelo Russell at the 2. D'Angelo Russell is a good player when he gets a lot of touches. He's not the most efficient, but when he gets a lot of touches, he's a good player. He's a bit like Kemba Walker was when he was on Charlotte. Because he gets so much volume scoring opportunities. That's why he's good. Because D'Angelo Russell's not the most efficient. He wouldn't play well with Curry and Klay Thompson because Curry needs his touches. Klay Thompson plays off Curry so well.
Yeah.
So it would be very smart to trade D'Angelo Russell to a team like maybe the Timberwolves. You look for a piece, at the 3 spot. Like maybe a couple bench options as well, but you need
Covington,
you really need to fill out that 3 spot.
Maybe even Jarrett Culver,
right?
Yeah.
You really need to fill out that 3 spot. You can manage with Cauley Stein and Looney at the 5.
Yeah,
but also remember at the end of this season, the Warriors are going to be awful this year. They're going to have a very good draft pick. They're going to have a high lottery pick most likely, and they're going to draft more depth.
Or they could move that pick to add another piece to the roster.
Lots they could do with that. They have 3 perfect pieces in the roster. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. All they need are a 3 and a 5. Cauley Stein can do a job at the 5 if you get a good 3. So you don't need to really worry about that as much. But you get that 3, you can even work on getting a 5. Like if you want to draft a 3, trade for a 5, draft a 5, trade for a 3, whatever it is.
And there are a few good big men coming up in the draft this year.
You could 100% do that. And you would have an astonishing roster for next season that would be very hard to beat.
I agree with that take on the Warriors. Obviously, Curry's going to be out for about a couple months. Clay's out for the whole year. Draymond right now is looking like he's not healthy.
He's day-to-day right now,
yeah. I think the Warriors will be a lot better next year. But one thing I do want to say on the Clippers is that the Clippers have a bunch of young ascending pieces. Zubats is 22 with 4 years left. They have a guy named Jerome Robinson, who was a first-round pick 2 years ago. 22 years old, 3 years left. Landry Shamet, a starter on that team.
Shamet's underrated. Shamet
is very underrated. Player. 22 years old, 3 years left on his deal, with a team option. Also, Mfiondu Kabengele, a first-round pick. He's a Canadian. 4 years, 22 years old. Not a good player right now, but... young, ascending, first-round, athletic prospect. Maybe in a trade, maybe developing, whatever. Also, Terrence Mann. I know many people don't know about him, but he's a good young player that got him locked up for 4 years. They've got a bunch of young ascending pieces that they can either work on or use in trades, as like a little kicker or something.
Yeah.
That's one thing I just want to add about the Clippers. Their roster is so good. Anything else?
I don't know. I think the Lakers more so need to win this year just because there's a lot of uncertainty about the roster. Window-wise, like you said about all those ascending pieces, it's probably like 2 years for both teams, now I think about it.
I want to ask this. What do you think would happen if either of these teams, what do you think they would do if either of these teams did not make the finals this year? Because it's going to happen to some team. For example, if the Clippers lose in the conference finals, what do you think they do?
I think...
Do they run it back?
I think they run it back just because their roster is so strong. I mean, you'd obviously have to assess what went wrong, what was the reason why they didn't make the finals. If it was LeBron and AD went to town in the conference final, then that's just the way it goes, right? Mm-hmm. Not a lot you can do about LeBron when it comes to clutch time and playoff situations like that. So in that scenario, probably run it back. Hopefully LeBron regresses.
What about the Lakers? If the
Lakers
don't make the finals,
you don't make it. Like I was saying, this is a pretty new team. They have a lot of work to do on that roster. We've spoken about their depth. It's really not there. KCP probably shouldn't be playing as much as he is on a contending team. So you work on the roster and you build up and you run it back next year. But you know what? It's going to be tough to win next year because the Warriors be so good. And another thing I didn't say about the Warriors is that because they're playing all these new pieces this year, one of them is going to have to ascend. These guys are going to get better with the experience they're getting. Those are going to be good depth pieces come next year. Mm-hmm. They're not just going to be scrubs on the bench like we've seen in the past for the Warriors. Yeah. If they continue to develop. Eric Paschall's looking very good so far.
Eric Paschall's looking very nice right now.
So, in that case, I really don't think the Lakers will be able to compete at the moment, but we'll see how they handle the next offseason. Obviously, they could keep DeMarcus Cousins or whatever it is. But
I don't think Cousins will be the same. But
going forward, you got to like the Clippers and you got to like the Warriors more than the Lakers.
That's fair.
I think the Lakers, to be honest, I think something
substantial needs to happen with the Lakers. Either a trade or an injury to another team.
But I said it's a 2-year window, but it could arguably 1 year because
you could argue a 1 year.
Anthony
Davis doesn't want to come back.
Number one, you talk about I'm going to assume AD's coming back in this scenario because I really think he will. He wants to be in either LA or New York, and he's not going to New York.
Yeah.
So looking at it from that way. The Warriors and Clippers are going to be so strong next year that the Clippers have a head start in the Lakers, and the Warriors are just going to be great next year. I know that
they'll be able to run it back. Yeah.
Yep. So I think the questions. I don't think it'll be a problem, but the questions about LeBron's longevity because 36 years old next year,
he'll be turning 35.
He has gone further than anybody has in NBA history at this point in their career to put up these numbers continuously. Even the Lord of longevity, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, could not withstand what LeBron is doing at this age, right? So,
GOAT.
It absolutely. You have to ask, it's bound to happen, and I don't think it will, but you have to worry, about that. And just because there's going to be so many factors around the West next year, maybe even other teams will get stronger as well. Mm-hmm. I think the Lakers really need to win this year.
I do too.
I do give them a 2-year win, but I think this year is.
I think the Lakers need to at the very, very, very least, make the conference finals.
I think the winner of the West is winning the NBA championship. Yeah. I mean, the East is a bit of a joke right now.
I don't know if the Bucks or Philly will be able to.
The Bucks are not competing.
The only team that I think Philly can defend. Philly's got big bodies. I think they'd be able to.
Scary team on defense.
Yeah, Philly's very good defensively. I think that could either slow down the Lakers or the Clippers, but
100%.
Yeah, I still think if say the finals is Philly Clippers or Philly Lakers, the Clippers and Lakers are gonna have the two top players in that series anyways, and it'll be done for. I've kind of been a firm believer of this for a long time, is that if you have the best player on your team, I don't care what the rest of your team looks like, you have a better chance of winning that series. If you have the best player on the court, you have a very good chance of winning. And we even saw that last year with the Raptors, right? People were saying, oh, Kawhi or Giannis. Kawhi turned out to be the best player. And people are, there's no disagreeing with that.
Yeah, probably like 95 plus times out of 100 best player is going to come through. I can think of some outliers.
In the Golden State series, Kawhi was the best player on the court.
I can think of some outliers like the Warriors' first championship in this like little dynasty. LeBron was best.
LeBron was by far yeah.
And
he got them there anyways. Like that's what I'm saying. Like he was the best player in the East for years and years.
That's true. Yeah, like the Raptors were how much better than the Cavaliers all those years, but LeBron every time.
When we got swept back-to-back years. We had
we were the 1 seed, they were the 4 seed, and we got swept.
We had a better collection of players. We had a better team than the Cavs did, but the Cavs had LeBron James, so nothing else matters. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I think if the Clippers or the Lakers play either the 76ers or the Bucks, they're still gonna have the best one, maybe best 2 players on the court.
And for that, it's the West all the way this year, probably next year. Mm-hmm. Warriors gonna be scary, man.
It's gonna be the West for a while. It has been the West for a while, and it's still gonna be like that.
And I think that's where we'll leave it for this one. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Amateur Hour Podcast. Follow us at Amateur Hour PDC on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube at Amateur Hour Sports, and join us again soon for some more daily content.